Yes,
Yeah.
bro, you're right.
Yes, I can hear you.
Oh, finally, it's finally working.
How are you?
I'm good, man. How are you? Yeah.
Yeah, I'm very good. I'm very good, man.
Yeah, man. Just been on my Facebook, man. Just like loads. It's all going off on Facebook at the moment, because of these protests and everything. But yeah, man,
Yeah,
it's just been mad. The past few days, like,
it's crazy,
just my
man. It's
mind's been like,
crazy. It's
yeah.
such a sad time. Obviously, we'll kick it off with this first of all. We'll talk about this subject. First of all, thank you for joining me on the podcast, man. I appreciate it a lot. So explain yourself a little bit, and then we'll jump into what I was about to talk about then.
Yeah. So basically, my name's Marky Smith. I've been presenting since 2016. I started off in Drystone Radio, which is near Keighley. I'm now on Fresh FM, which is in Leeds, which is a Caribbean station in Chapeltown. And yeah, just here to talk about like issues within radio and like the radio industry itself, and yeah, just everything else that's going on in the world at the moment as well. But how are you doing, man? You good? Like coping all right?
Yeah, man, I'm good. I'm just working away, doing my research, constantly learning. So I'm trying to utilize this time as best as I can, really. Yeah, just talking about the current situation, it's absolutely crazy at the moment, but it's a good crazy. It's a movement it needs to happen. Change definitely does need to happen, and it's a tough subject to talk about because everyone has so many different opinions on it. But one thing I would say, because I feel like this as well, I feel guilty not going to a protest, but I shouldn't be, because one, we're in a pandemic, so really and truly, like, it's a bit of an issue with that situation. Obviously, with the situation with I don't really want to talk about it in this podcast, but anyway, my dad had radiotherapy last year because he had cancer, so his immune system's pretty weak. So if I catch up from that protest and I bring it back, the possibilities of him coming through that is slim, so I don't want to risk that. But what I do want to say to people is there's other ways of expanding your knowledge with this subject. There's loads of documentaries, there's loads of films, there's loads of articles, there's loads of history books about this stuff. Just do your research. I think the thing with people, they feel like they have to go to protest and they don't. In order to make a change, you've got social media. I think social media is so much more powerful than protests. Don't get me wrong, protests are a big movement. It's very powerful. But the power of social media is unbelievable. But as you know, we've kind of already seen that social media isn't enough. So doing everything above, so doing your research, doing the social media things, doing the protest, all as one, it is definitely making a change, and people are starting to realize that it's actually a thing. And white people definitely need to use the privilege to step up, and especially with the protests, if you're safe enough and you do it in the correct way and you want to attend to a protest, because ultimately that's probably going to save a lot of black lives, because we know what police are like. Imagine if it was just a protest full of black people. A lot of black people have already said this, that it would be a different matter. Police would be acting totally different. So just be safe, do it correctly, and just do your part. And that doesn't mean you have to go out protesting. It just means do your part, even if that's just researching, sign petitions. Yeah, that's me talking about that subject. It is tough. My family's got my granddad's from Dominica, and he said that his dad worked for the government, or he knew a lot of political stuff, so he's educated me a lot on it, especially this past week when I went to go talk to him about the situation. So it's tough, man. I mean, our heritage has been it's been tough. It's been judged so many times. We've gone through a lot, and I hate, because I've got white colour skin, so I've witnessed a lot of racism, not to me, but on about different, not even just about black people, with Asians as well, and all these other different cultures. So for me, it's not a blessing, but I get to know then, all right, well, I don't need to fuck with you anymore because I know exactly who you are. Even if it's a joke, I'm like, nah, it's not right. I straight up speak up because it's not right. I just don't agree with it, man. Racism just needs to be ended. Even in jokes, man. Even in jokes, it just needs to end.
That's where like it stems though, isn't it? Like a one joke can turn into like something a lot more malicious. I just think my opinion on the whole situation is like I commend anyone that's out there. Like I say go on them, and obviously like I saw something that an NHS doctor was saying because loads of people were trying to twist the narrative and saying like, oh, what about the nurses? These poor nurses that have been
Mm-hmm.
fighting for the NHS. These protests are going to like ruin everything. And one of the nurses just came out with like, look, like racism is the virus. Like
Yeah.
we need to stop this. Like the thing is, like you said, like black people are more likely to get this virus and die from it. They know the risks. Like they're going out and doing it. And I think for me, like you, I've just been doing research. Like I'm Scottish heritage, and I literally just read up yesterday that there was a black king in Scotland, and I didn't even know that. Like my granddad was Scottish, and I'm sure he probably didn't know that. So he was called, I think he's called Dub King of Scotland. I think it's just all of us taking a responsibility and going like,
100%.
do I do I do I know like am I saying things correctly? Because yeah, like I've dated girls from different heritages and stuff, and I'm being like,
Mm-hmm.
oh, am I saying the wrong thing here? And they've told me, are you saying the right thing? It's all just the thing is you got to remember as well. Like I was trying to explain to someone today, like we all make mistakes along the way. Like as white people, I feel like we all make mistakes along the way. Like we'll all say something that isn't, and I think it's okay to be like that. But I think I just think what I respect people more. Like I watched a video online where there was this woman saying like white woman saying she's scared of like big black men and stuff. She was on radio talking about it. And I really respected it. But like the fact she'd been actually admitted it, and I think what a lot of it is, Tom, is a lot of it's not even people are being like, it's not even like they've got like, because she seemed like a nice person. Like she's like, oh, I think it's gonna feel this way. Why do
It's
I
just
feel
the
this
way
way?
that it's the way they brought up, bro. That's what it is, and it's nothing to do with people because people, like you say, she might express her way she feels when she sees a black person, but it doesn't mean she's a racist. It just means the way that she's been brought up through a family. That's just her tradition. But I don't know, man. It's a touchy subject to really talk about because if you say the wrong thing, people are just going to take it in the wrong way. And ultimately, I'm with it. I'm with the Black Lives Matter. I'm standing against it. I'm promoting as much as I can through social media. By the way, I feel like a lot of people are promoting it negatively on social media. I just want to say that because it's not a white versus black thing. It's not. It's about humanity. It's about embracing humanity, and we're all fucking humans at the end of the day. There's no versus. There's none of that. It's about humans coming together and just realizing we're all fucking one. We bleed the same blood. We all have the same values in life. It confuses me how a color of the skin can diverse people in such a way that it causes hatred. It just baffles my mind.
It's really mad. You think we've been past it all in 2020 with all this like, and like you said with social media with all this technology. It just cries out for like unity, doesn't it?
100%. And it's what I was going to say on that subject is people need to start promoting the positivity of the protest, not the negativity, because you see a lot of people trying to shed bad light on the protests and stuff like that, but that is not the message, and that's a small fucking I can't even say that word. A small percentage of those people that are doing that, and to be honest, it's a mix. It's not just black people. It might even be mainly white people from what I've seen from the videos, and I think it's just about showing what the message is actually about and not the negative stuff, because people are. Thing is, when the negative stuff gets out, people then put it on the story and talk about the subject like they're trying to justify what's happened. If someone's doing bad, whether they're white, brown, black, they're doing bad, you got to embrace that. You just got to fucking accept it, right? They shouldn't be looting, they shouldn't be doing this shit, right? But what you should be focusing on is the people are actually doing right. The people are actually doing the right things and sharing that and talking about that rather than negative stuff, because I know that people have different opinions on the negative clips that they see, and everyone's going to speak up about it in different ways. So I think don't even promote that, because that's what the media wants you to do. Don't even promote the negative stuff that you see, like the looting or whatever it is, man. Like, end of the day, law is I know I shouldn't be saying this, but law is man-made. So therefore, it is actually a free world. So we're actually able to do anything we want. But looting is bad. I do not agree with it whatsoever. But technically, well, it's not technically because there is laws down, but laws are man-made. So we do live in a free world. but people just get it twisted just because there's laws set by another human being that they believes that right, we have to follow by. Obviously, there's a lot of good laws, like you shouldn't loot, and that's just common sense, and a lot of other different ones. But there's a lot of bad laws as well that it's just based on how people value the world and what they think that should be a law, and then it goes through a process. And usually, there's some stupid laws, bro. There's some absolutely stupid laws. I think I'm going a bit off topic here, but yeah, I think share the right things, spread the positive message that this protest and this whole movement is about, and stop trying to justify the clips that are bad, or that people are doing wrong in, because end of the day, like, you shouldn't be focusing on that. You should be focusing on the positive message and what the message is actually about and the movement's about. But that's what I've got to say on this, to be honest. And it is a touchy subject, and I might even get backlash on this, but all I know is I'm with the movement. I'm just trying to do it in a positive way and understand it correctly, and come from and understand it's fucked, bro. It's completely fucked, and I can't. I'm repeating myself so much, but it's too much to even go into, because this whole episode of the podcast is going to be based on it. But just do your research, people. That's all I ask for.
Yeah, there's some great books out there, and I'm learning, because someone called me an ally online. Like, I had my friend from Manchester call me an ally and obviously it was a massive honour to be called that. And like, the fact that I've been called that now is like, I've got to follow that up. I can't just be called it once and like, that's it. Like, I think you just, if you say something, you need to stand by it as well. Like, you need to, like,
100%.
Like, like you, bro, I'm 100% backing it. Definitely the movement, and anyone that protests and puts something online, then positive online, then like, I commend them. But yeah, bro, like, I just wanted to come on and talk about the situation within radio, like again, the whole research thing. I didn't even know this. I did some research. I think it came up on one of my friends who's a presenter on Fresh FM sent me it, and there's the diversity quote is in like the radio stations. I can't remember the percentages exactly, but like, there's very few there's very few people of color within these radio stations, and it absolutely baffled me, because you think, like, the one that I think was it BBC One Extra, I think they had like 18 out of 19%. I might be wrong, I might be totally wrong, but yeah, like, I think it's good that they're pushing this. Like, companies like the BBC are kind of like modernizing, they're doing all these great things. They're doing all these, like, initiatives, and Black History Months and things like that, and I think it's absolutely amazing to see.
And I also want to add, first of all, going back onto the whole protest thing. I just want to say that all police are not bad. It's a small percentage, and it kind of frustrates me a little bit when I see people being really aggressive to the police force, because it's like, not every police officer is like what you're seeing on these videos. And like, if there was, you'd see it every single day, right? Basically, that's my point. And but we do need to tackle about. I do think police officers need an intensive background check. Not in the UK as much, because UK is it's much better than America. But America definitely needs to do an in-depth background check. Because I've heard, like, on these podcasts and stuff like that it only takes 6 months to be a police officer in the US, and over in UK, I think it takes about 2 to 4 years. So that kind of narrows down and kind of explains the whole reason of why it's so fucked up. And 2, guns, man. Like, in America, like, when you give the wrong person the power to basically use that weapon if they ever feel in danger, which most of the time they just use it for the sake of fucking using it. They don't even give anyone a second chance, or even a chance to, you know what I mean? So it's I forgot my point, but yeah, just not all police officers are bad, basically. That's my point, and it's only a small percentage. And it kind of frustrates me and upsets me when I see protesters being really aggressive to officers that are just stood there doing the job, protecting normal people that are trying to go to jobs and shit like that. It just, it frustrates me a little bit. I understand the frustration. I get the frustration, but you can't take it out on everyone. Like, you got to be selective with who you take it out with. Take it out on the right things. And obviously, if a police officer's blatantly racist, obviously then you have the right to step up and put the light on them. But not all police officers are racist. In fact, probably 90% of them aren't. But I'm not saying it's not a thing, because it is a thing. Like I said, mainly in America more than UK. But it definitely does exist over here, 100%.
I think what upset me the most, like what I saw, was, I don't condone animal cruelty at all, but what upset me the most, there was some people on my Facebook. So when George had actually died, like sadly passed away, no one was really, there wasn't that much outrage from certain people. But
Yeah.
like I noticed as the protests were happening in London and like horses were getting injured and stuff, and
I ain't
like
seen that, but I
people were
bet.
more outraged about the horse. And to me, it's like, not to, I love animals, like I'm a big animal person, but for me, it's more like, you're more outraged by like the horse than the actual kind of what happened to George. Because obviously what happened to George was horrible, but like my argument is like, why are you putting the horse's life first? Do you get what I'm saying? Like, as much
I get
as,
what you're saying, but it's also like, again, that's another narrative that's just distracting the whole message of why they're actually protesting. It I think people are getting so confused and getting so caught up into the things that are just distracting everyone. They need to focus on the prime motive, and that's basically change in the justice system. Because right now, for Black people, it's not a justice system; it's an injustice system.
definitely.
And I think that's what people need to focus on. And I think when you're talking about this horse and all this stuff, like, it just sounds bad. You know what I mean? Like, it sounds so bad when people say, "Well, why people care about horse more than this, that," and it's irrelevant. It's complete. First of all, it shouldn't have happened. Like, why are people killing an innocent horse that has, it don't even fucking speak English? It has nothing to do with this whole situation. Why are people even doing that? Just because it might have been a police officer's horse, bro. It's getting twisted, man. It's getting so twisted, and people need to think, right? We need to focus on what we're actually fighting for, not for killing a police officer's horse just because it was a police officer's horse. Like, what the fuck? Like, it's not even about that shit, man. I don't agree with that whatsoever. And I know people can take it as it is, but it's an innocent horse. And again, George Floyd, we're all equal, no matter what. Animal, human, we're all fucking equal. Animals are actually here before humans, so therefore they have more right to be on this earth more than we do as humans, right? So again, I'm even going off topic now. It's about, it's more than just George Floyd, because there's so many innocent Black people that have died, man. It's so sad. It is so sad, and that's what we're fighting for. Let's not focus and let the media distract us from what we're actually fucking fighting for, because that horse situation shouldn't have happened, and it's disgusting that it happened. But then that's going to be an argument that no one's going to win. No one's going to win it. So therefore, you're debating over something that's irrelevant and not even to the thing that you're actually fighting for. So right, people just need to take a step back. I think they're rushing too much into it. Not everyone. There's a lot of peaceful protesters. There's a lot of people that are clued up on it, but there's a lot of people that are doing this just for pure aggression, and taking the frustration out on anything and anyone. And I think those people need to kind of sit back, kind of elevate how to make a change, because when things like this are happening, it makes it harder for change to happen, right? So yeah, man, as you can tell, it gets me frustrated, man. It does. I kind of want to move away to this now and talk about you, bro, and talk about radio, because all of this situation that's going on right now, it's too much to talk about in an equality manner, because someone's going to have something to say no matter what you say. But as a human being, I'm here to be a decent human being. I'm not here to discriminate. I'm not here to hurt anything or anyone. I'm here to voice my opinion, try and make as much change as possible, sign as much petitions, educate myself on this situation, educate myself on laws and stuff like that, and then make my decision there based on that. I think That's what people need to start doing rather than you know. I
Mm.
can't really speak for myself 'cause I'm not, my skin color is not black, so I've never witnessed racism. I've never been through it, so I can never speak on their behalf. But I just know some people are doing it in the wrong way. That's one thing I do know as a human being.
Yeah, I think it's just I think the you got, like you said, we just focus on the positives and everything that's coming out of it. There is a lot of positive stuff that's coming out of it.
Look
Like
at
they've taken down how many statues, and they've changed. I think they changed the halls in uni, in one of the Liverpool uni or something.
took the words out of my mouth, mate. That statue thing, that's the only thing I agree with about vandalizing, yeah. That's the only thing I truly believe that was right to do. Because I could not imagine being a black person and walking past that statue, knowing what it stands for as well, every single day. That shit must bro, I can't even imagine that. So that, for me, that's a beautiful moment to witness, man. I'm so glad that it's been filmed as well. Like, that is a historical moment. And it's changed as well. Like I say, a lot of different statues are getting taken down and stuff like that now. So it's definitely made a massive impact, and it's a powerful, powerful video clip. That it's a very powerful video clip. Yeah, powerful moment.
I think it's gonna be one of them moments that's like remembered for a long time. Like people will look back on it,
till
and it's
the
gonna
day
be
we
like
die. Till the day we die. And one thing, I saw a petition go about talking about how black history and slavery and all that sort of stuff should be taught in schools. That 100% should be, because the more you educate yourself on these situations, the more people understand that we're all human, right? But at one point, a certain culture and ethnicity wasn't treated as humans, and I think it's so important to show that, because it was a disgusting time, and I think it'll erase so much racism. It might not, but you don't know until you try it, and you don't know until it's in the school system. So I think it's definitely something that should be taught, because we're taught about World War, we're taught about all these different things, right, and all this other stuff. But even with the World War, you're not even taught fully about what actually went into the World War, about the Indians helping out, about all these other people that were helping out from different cultures. All you focus on in school is English people, white people. Like, it's always about white history. Henry VIII, white. Like all this white, privileged, rich history. It's false. Like, it is false, bro. Because there's so much more to it than what people are actually telling you.
I saw a meme and it was like, I was just sorry to interrupt, but I saw a meme. It said that like British history is like the reason that people don't know about it is like it starts off 1066, then like skips to Tudors, then skips to like World War One. Like it's very true. Like I like the reason that I'm so clued upon like history. I used to love history at school. I used to get A's, B's. It was my favorite subject. It's the one thing that I actually found interesting. And you know what the sad thing is, not talking too negatively. I was having this conversation with my mate. Like there's all these resources out for people to learn, you know, as much as it should be in the schools.
Yeah.
There's all these great resources. And I think the sad truth is, Tom, is that a lot of people don't want to learn. Like, a lot of people don't want to know all this stuff. Even if you presented them and, like, they wouldn't want to know. Because some people just find history boring. It's not because, like, they're ignorant or anything. But some people just don't have an interest. Like, I don't have that much of an interest in geography as much as, like, my brother
does.
does.
What it does do, bro, sorry to cut you off, but what it does do is raise awareness. Whether they're interested or not, it raises awareness on a subject that definitely needs to be talked about. And I think that's where I stand by it, because like I say, you got it bang on, bro. I was that person that you were just talking about in school. I didn't give a shit about school, to be honest. I got 3 GCSEs, 2 of them was BTEC, and you know how easy BTEC is. I only got 1 proper GCSE. So I completely understand that, but I did actually quite enjoy history, and the reason being is I just like how I like the evolution of human beings and how the world's adapted over time. I find it very fascinating and interesting. But like I said, a lot of people don't. But what it does do is definitely raises awareness on a certain subject. And even the word slavery, right? So let's just say it talks about black slave trade, right? Let's say that was a subject in school. Although you might not know all the key information and whatnot, you're definitely going to remember the word slave trade. Same with Henry VIII and his 8 wives. Like, there's certain things that are always going to stick in your mind. So even that one word can change someone's whole perspective on life or how to see things. So I think that's where I really stand with that. And I think, bro, have you seen about the petition about I forgot her name, bless her, but it was a young Somalian girl that was murdered, beaten up.
I know who you mean. I've seen. I think I think I shared it actually by. Yeah, it's really sad, isn't it? Didn't she like drown or something? It was really hot, like tragic circumstance.
Beat her up and then chucked her in a river and she drowned, and it's just so. I just don't get it. I just don't understand that shit, man. It's so sad. And it's a story that I didn't even know about. And it happened last year or 2 years ago. I think it might have been 2018. And it's just like, why is this not a subject that, or why isn't this even front headline news everywhere? How have I never even heard about this until now? Like, it's absolutely baffling. So much goes on behind closed doors that I couldn't even imagine the figures and numbers. I just couldn't. And not even just in this country or America. Like, there's so much happening in China and even in Africa and Indonesia and all these other places. It's just, it's so sad. It's so sad. Anyway, moving on to radio.
Yeah.
Crikey, how long's this been, man? It's 30 minutes in and we've talked. I think it's good though that we're talking about, because I did do one. Oh my gosh, what is wrong with me? I did want to do a podcast about speaking about subjects. I was probably going to do it by myself, but it's good actually speaking to someone else that has a different, well, not a different, you'd have a different view, but, having that, back and forth conversation about the subject, because it's good. And it's especially two people that have that were both white. Well, not me deep down, but I look white. I think it's interesting to talk about, especially from our side of the perspective. So I hope people find that interesting, and I hope it educates you a lot in terms of the matter that's going on right now. And if you still want to learn and find out more, then I'll probably link a lot of stuff down below, and I'll link a lot of petitions down below as well in terms of what you can sign to help matters get better and make a change. So yeah, talking about the radio. First of all, how did you get into radio, and did you have your own radio station? Is that what Drystone Radio was?
So yeah, so for people that didn't know, Drystone was kind of like, it's a community-based station, so it's like publicly funded. It's like charity funded, which was near Keighley. It's in Cowland actually, which is like a small village, weirdly enough. So like you used to have like all these big rap guests coming over, like Blazer Blockle coming over to this little village in the middle of nowhere. But no, I got into it 2016. So there's various other presenters on that station, but yeah, I just got onto it through, basically, I emailed them one day. I'd literally I think I'd just done a BTEC course like yourself. I'd just finished college. I was like, oh, what am I doing in my life? Like, I want to get into something. And I wanted to look for some like work experience. So I initially messaged them saying, oh, do you have any work experience, or like, do you have any paid like internships? Because the thing is, like, Drystone was kind of like in our area, growing up as lads in Skipton, like we'd heard of it, like it was kind of like an urban myth. So like we'd heard of it, but no one really knew what it was. It was just kind of like this station that was in the middle of nowhere, and like no one knew where it was or like what it was about. So I went up, and then eventually I met David Adams as the guy that got me into it. Big up to him, because he the one that gave me the chance to get my show. And yeah, really just got myself stuck in doing shows, doing like interviewing guests from like it started off more kind of like Skipton artists, and then I kind of progressed into like like Leeds. Then I got like heard of Elevation, got to know like J Depps like that's how I knew you. I knew like Preem Sound, and just really then I started. What didn't just become like a show. I wanted to go out and interview people in the field. So I went to Bradford, Manchester, and yeah, so here I am, 2020 on Fresh FM, which is a Caribbean station in Leeds. So I'm looking to move, like after my degree, I'm looking to move to London and just take it to like the next level, really. Because I've got a few like interesting interviews coming up with some London artists, but yeah, it's been a real weird, like it can't believe it's nearly 5 years now. So next year it'll be 5 years. It'll be like 5 years.
That's like, it's so fresh in some sense, isn't it? 5 years. So from Dry Stone, which is definitely more like, what was Dry Stone in terms of genre of music? Because I know you got a lot of rappers on board, but is that what you usually played, rappers and stuff like that, or was it mixed?
Well, when I started, like, I don't know if people really know, but like, I was like one of the youngest presenters on there. There was a little girl called Daisy. She's a little bit younger than me. She was like, at the time, I was like 17, 18. I think she was like 16, 15. But
Mm,
she was one of the youngest presenters. I was like one of the youngest. It's a very sort of like middle-aged kind of station, you know, middle-aged blokes that like football and stuff. So
yeah.
me coming in was kind of a bit of a shock for a lot of them. And initially they play like a lot of like pop songs. It's kind of like you got like your drive time shows, like your kind of commercial kind of like driving home shows. You had like people that were doing shows about like cars, people that were doing shows about astronomy. It was a very kind of mixed bag because community radio is very mixed.
Yeah.
And then initially, like I did start it off, it was kind of multi-genre, and I've always been open to different genres. But as it progressed, I always knew it was going to go down more like the hip hop route, like
Mm,
black music route. And yeah, like it really just kind of, I didn't really think I'd last that long. I did like a few interviews, and I was like, oh, I don't think people are going to be that into this, like, you know. And then like I interviewed more people. You know, I've had people on from like Liverpool, like
yeah.
Manchester, have come, people from Manchester have come over. So it's been mad, but it's interesting, like because I'm not saying it was everyone, but a lot of the people at the station didn't really like rap music. A lot of
About
them
to
were kind of
say,
like,
I was about to say, how does it work in terms of radio? Do you like have your own section so you can play whatever you want? Is there like guidelines with radio?
yeah. So there is a certain standard. Like I was lucky enough because some radio stations don't have the luxury, but we had like a station manager, so he was called Oliver, and he was amazing. Like he taught me about like Ofcom, he taught me about like, you know, like what you can say in radio, what you can't say, like the things.
Mm,
He taught me some really important points. Like one thing that a lot of people don't even realize. So let's say if we were doing an interview and you came on my show and you said something like, or um, like Bob's the best builder in town or whatever, and you said it as like a fact. The one thing that people don't realize about radio is that you can't say things as a fact. You've got to
yeah.
say it as like an opinion. You've got to be like, um, what do you call it? You've got to be on both sides. So you've got to kind of be a bit open. Um, and yeah, he just taught me about like Ofcom, what you can't say in radio. So for example, like if you were talking about, I don't know, smoking weed, for example, you
Yeah.
can say that like I get high, but you can't say that, oh, I smoke weed. Like there's a certain standard, and this is what I'm trying to like address to rappers when they make songs and
Mm,
stuff, that like the songs have to be clean, like they can't promote certain things, and like it's not even like promoting certain things, it's like the context it's in, kind of, I guess.
yeah.
Um,
Otherwise, you'll have to
but
bleep
yeah,
it
like
out.
the sections, like it was obviously because like I'm on Fresh FM now, it's a lot more kind of Caribbean infused. I do play a lot of like dancehall, Afro beats, but when I
Mm,
was on Dry Sun, the sound was different because I was playing a lot more local artists, and I'm still playing local artists to this day. Just not as much, just because like it's a longer show. I've got more like
yeah.
stuff to fit in, and it's pirate as well. So pirate radio, there's like literally like my microphone's here. Like I record everything from here. So like Dry Stone was an actual studio, and that's like the one thing that I actually miss is like having a coop, as we used to call it, but having like an area where we could come in, people could do freestyles, do interviews.
Yeah.
To be honest, this past couple of years, like past year, like 2019, I did do some sick interviews and stuff, but as you probably saw on my Instagram, they were all kind of at events and stuff, which I'm looking this year, like this coming in out of lockdown, I'm looking to get kind of like a new studio kind of set up.
Sick.
Um, but yeah, man, just another like issue that one of the issues that I wanted to talk about was, so as much as I kind of believe in innovation and things are changing and it's all streaming, and I feel like sometimes I've not jumped on these platforms as fast as I could have done. Like I should have been on Spotify like time ago.
Yeah.
But things are good. I'm not going to give away too much, but when I come back on socials properly, like it's all going to be changing. Like a lot of things are going to be
Keep,
different for me,
keep
like
that
for the good.
secret, bro.
I'm working with, Ethan, Toby. I'm working with my guy, so like,
Mm,
he's really helping me out. But yeah, so as much as I believe in innovation, the problem that I'm seeing, Tom, is like there's a lot of, I don't know if you see it like sponsored online and stuff. I don't want to disrespect anyone or anything, but I'm seeing like there's a lot of other radio stations popping up, and like they're not even like, because most radio stations, if you how most radio stations work, you've got like your FM ones. They're the ones that you tune into in like your car, comes
yeah.
up on the actual radio like box. There's DAB, which is, when you're scrolling down on like your menu screen in like a modern car, and it
Hmm.
comes up with a different. That's what DAB is, and there's obviously online streaming, like an online website. and podcasts. But like what I'm seeing more of, and as much as I'm saying it's innovate, I think it's innovating. But at the same time, like you get like like you get Beats One, you had like Tory Lanez. As much as I admired Tory Lanez for what he did with Quarantine Radio, to me, like he was calling like a streaming thing radio, and to me, as like a radio presenter, I was like, hang on, like, is that radio though? Like, I don't know if you like, is it radio? Because like to us as radio presenters, I was having this conversation with some of the Fresh FM presenters, and they were saying that like I do online radio and FM radio because I'm on a radio station in Lewisham as well. Like I do that on a Friday. That's 4 till 6 if anyone wants to listen. But it's like this is a question I've got for you. Would you class if it's just like a podcast? Would you class that as radio? Because like for me, it's as much as I don't want to take away from anyone's craft, and I'd always encourage someone to be on radio. Would you say that's radio though if it's like a podcast?
I think for Tory Lanez, it's more of like a way in terms of marketing and getting followers. I don't think he actually thinks it's a radio station. Unless it does something else after this. I don't know his plans. But just from what I know, as well as looking at Swarms as well, I think they're doing it more for the followers and trying to get their engagement boost up rather than anything else. I don't think he's actually trying to classify it as a radio station. Because like you said, it is more of a stream. It's like Twitch, basically. With just Instagram Live. So I think the way that I see it is it's more of a marketing strategy rather than actual trying to form a radio station. But yeah, I might be wrong. I don't tune in on this stuff, so I might be completely wrong. But just looking at Swarm stuff, because I've seen some of his stuff, it's absolutely hilarious.
Oh, it's jokes, isn't it?
It's nuts. So I'm assuming, obviously, Tory Lanez has kind of done the same thing, but just obviously based it around music and, like, playing out. I don't even know what it does. What does he do? Play out music and stuff like that?
Doesn't he have like girls on, like dancing, like twerking?
Swarms does, but what does Tory Lanez do?
I think he does the same thing.
Oh,
I think it's like,
yeah. It's definitely a market strategy, mate.
Yeah, I mean, I respect what they did though. Like Tory Lanez, like he was popular already, wasn't he?
Yeah.
But I think I thought like as soon as someone says Tory Lanez now, I love his music, but as soon as I hear Tory Lanez, I just think of him holding the mic now. Like literally, he's ingrained it. But yeah, man, there's lots of politics in radio that people aren't seeing. Like, I'm not gonna give away.
There's politics and everything, bro. To be honest, I think that I don't want this to be a negative podcast or anything like that. But the reason why I do this is because I want it to people to be transparent with what they do. Because a lot of people talk about the fantasies and everything's brilliant and wow. But I want this podcast to be reality. I want it to be transparent. I want it to talk about the good and bad of our situations and stuff that we've gone through. So go ahead and say what you need to say, but I just thought I'd say that before you say whatever you're going to say. So yeah, I appreciate you being transparent with whatever you're about to say.
Yeah, man. Like, well, I mean, like I was saying before with the whole people of color thing, that it's very lacking in the industry. There's not that radio industry. I feel like there needs to be like, obviously there's a lot of female presenters now, which I'll gas up every female presenter there is.
They're the best ones. I love. When I listen to Capital FM or BBC Extra, yeah, I love the female presenters. I think they're so much better than the guys. But I quite like. Is it called Sideman?
Oh, he's hilarious. He's so good.
He's funny. Just because of his accent as well. I love his accent, but he's a really good radio presenter. But yeah, I love the girls more than anything, like Yasmin and all those type of radio presenters. I love them all, me. Go on.
That's sick. I feel like there is an element of, like, from my experience, there is kind of an element of sexism within the industry. There is, like, you do go to a lot of these radio stations and they are very male dominated. Like, I mean, like we were saying, there is a lot of female presenters out there. And one of the things that I've tried to stand with, not just with like female presenters, but female artists, like I feel like I'm one of the very few presenters in the UK that does promote females as much. Like, I'm not saying other presenters don't, because you've got your likes of Target, you've got Mr. Jams, but I feel like in terms of like interviews and stuff and shows and stuff, if you look at my track record, like, and just playing female artists consistently, it's not like I'll interview a female artist once a year or something. It's more like I'll do it. I think there needs to be kind of a more consistent platform for females, because like you look on like your link up TVs, you look at like your GMR dailies, yeah, there is a rise of female rappers, which is amazing to see. Like, there's a lot of female singers and rappers that I'm kind of working with in London at the moment, just being in touch with. But I do think there needs to, like, I really hope someone comes along with like just an all female. I mean, there's DJ Lioness as well. I think I've never met her, but I've heard of her. But she's doing some great work with females. But
Yeah.
like the thing is, I think as much as we can sit here and say it needs to be more equal, there's always going to be inequalities in every industry. I think there's always going to be some kind of element of bias, I think, as well.
That's been going on for years, that as well, like years. All about like, it feels like the whole human race has just been fighting for equality. That's from every different aspect. But yeah, I completely agree, and it's same with filmmaking. Filmmaking is definitely male dominated, but it's definitely being more female. When They See Us, probably the most powerful series I've watched. It's only one series, it's like a one-off series thing. It's about it's actually about the situation that's going on right now with the Black Lives Matter situation. But she's a female director, and it's probably one of the most powerful things I've ever seen. So it's also like when a female does something, they do it better than the males, and then you know what I mean. So it's kind of like, I do think there's definitely an inequality, but I feel like I don't know if it's because males feel threatened by females, because ultimately females are way more smarter than males. Like I think there's actually a scientific fact behind it. But females are actually smarter than males. I might have this completely wrong, but I'm pretty sure that that's true. Comment in down below if I'm wrong. Make me look like an idiot. But I think males are way more creative. I think we have a different creative span to females. I think it is weird how we're all how we're so different compared to males and females. Like we are different human species, and we do think differently and work differently and things like that. But I do agree there's definitely an inequality of females through all of aspects of work. Never mind just like radio or filmmaking. It's like all aspects of, and they usually get chucked into kitchen, or well, they used to. It's definitely changed now, but kitchen or washing or call centers, and you know, all the jobs that you don't kind of really want to do. But now there's definitely been doors way open for. I think the world is your oyster right now for people, especially with social media, because anyone has their own voice to speak and do what they want to do. So I think that's definitely a positive for everyone, not even just for females, for everyone. But yeah, I do feel like females have definitely had it harder than males when it comes to business, 100%.
I mean, what's your experience like? Because obviously I really enjoyed that conversation you and Ethan had about, you know, like videoing. Do you feel like obviously I'm cool with all the other presenters like that are local and stuff and other presenters, but do you always like do you think like do you always think there's that sense of rivalry though, no matter who it is, like even if it's someone that you've worked with before, like a fellow photographer, do you always feel like there is a bit of rivalry?
I know what you mean. At one point I did. I've said it a few times now. But before I went traveling, I kind of got over it. I kind of thought, well, I want to work as a team. I want to be in the film industry. So therefore, in order for me to do that, I needed to look at people's work as art form rather than the competition. I think it's just changing your mindset, really and truly. Changing your mindset that there's enough. And people have taught me this on this podcast that I'm still learning now. Like people have said on this podcast, which I've never even really seen life in that way, is there's enough to go around for everyone, and that's completely true. There is enough work for us as creatives to do what we want to do without any sort of backlash or anything. Yeah, it's going to be hard. There's loads of competition out there, but don't see it as competition. See it as more of a game that you're all trying to play, and it's more like you're all in it for the fun of it rather than, you know, the against each other and, oh, if you kill me, now I'm going to kill you. More like, all right, well, we're a team. Let's see who can get in the lead and let's make it fun. I think that's where I'm trying to see it now, more than anything. I see it more as a game rather than a competition, because a competition is more like sport, and sport you just want to become first place and beat everyone. But with a game, it's more fun. You like interacting with people. Uh, you're more open for different ideas and stuff like that. So I think when you see things in a different perspective, or you call it something different, you start to see it in that way. Does that make sense?
Definitely. I feel like with me, like I think I've learned like my mentor kind of taught me. My mentor was like a turntablist hip hop DJ, so I've kind of been taught by some good people. But yeah, like I've learned like not to become entitled, because like I'll even admit like sometimes we all have an ego. Like even
Hmm.
someone like me and yourselves that are quite humble, you can sometimes have an ego, and I feel like sometimes like
Ego.
there's been points where I've acted really entitled and I've said things, and I'm like people have come in and I wouldn't say bested me, but people have come in and done bigger things than me in a short amount of time.
Yeah.
And there's just no point being bitter. Like there's times where I've just been like, oh, like, ugh, like, do you know what I mean? Like, what's the point? But
Of course.
I think it's like you've got to think like it's like, yeah, they've done this, but like, what can I do to not outdo them? But like you said, like it's a game. How can like I play the next move of chess? Like how can I, checkmate
Yeah.
on them? Like it's not even, like there's the thing is like being humble as well. There's always someone that could replace you as well. Like that's the thing. There's always someone that could be doing what you're doing. There's a thousand other people.
Mhm.
There's a thousand other radio presenters.
Just think of it this
Isn't
way,
there?
bro. Sorry
Yeah.
to interrupt, but just think of it
Yeah.
this way.
Sorry.
There will be thousands, if not hundreds of thousands, people looking at you wanting to be in your position.
Hmm.
So see it from
Thank you.
that perspective, because you're looking at someone else and thinking, "Oh, I wish I could be there." But if you continue what you're doing and you love what you're doing so much, you're going to end up getting there anyway. And the people that are looking at you wanting to be in your position are going to get there at some point anyway. So it's like a chain that's constantly moving.
Hmm.
Um,
Definitely.
so there's just so many. Life is all about learning at the end of the day, right? So we're all going through a stage. How old are you, by the way, bro?
I'm 23, bro. So.
Same age as me. We're going through that period where it's like we're starting to learn now. We're starting to become men. We're starting to think like men. We're starting to think like true entrepreneurs. We're trying to change our mentality. We're trying to be something. We're trying to be in the hierarchy chain, basically. But in order
Hmm.
to be there, in order to get there in a good way as well, in a positive way, is staying humble. And really and truly, when you're staying humble, it does take you longer than you would if you had a massive ego and you was, doing all the, I won't say bad things because it gets people to the right places, but things that we don't truly believe in. Everyone has different values. But I think it's just all about staying true to yourself in this game. I think that's where it is, and people lose themselves a lot in this game. And with the ego side of things, I just want to talk about that. Is everyone has an ego? I don't care who
Oh
you
yeah.
are. I don't care what you say. Everyone's got an ego, but it's controlling it, and it's about don't let the ego get the best of you, and knowing when to use your ego in a positive way and when to like sit back when your ego's taking over. Um, because ultimately, if you don't do that, especially with the humbleness taking, I mean, with the ego taking over, someone or something's gonna fucking set you back, and it's gonna hurt you more than it would if you just elevated your own self.
Hmm.
Because someone else is gonna tell you, and when you've got that ego, you're not gonna like it.
Definitely. Definitely.
Um, so yeah, man, life's all about learning, bro. And like you said, and like I said, there's a lot of stuff I've said about this industry that I truly believe that needs to be talked about, and you're doing the exact same. I don't think it's a bad thing. I think it's a topic that definitely needs to be discussed, because really, I don't know much about radio, to be honest. And me talking to you now, I'm starting to understand it, that it's very similar to what I do, really and
Hmm.
truly. It's just a different sector. Um,
Hmm.
so how is it from playing at Dry Stone Radio to playing at Fresh? Is it Fresh FM?
Yeah, that's it. Fresh FM. Yeah, bro.
Yeah. Obviously, with it being more of a Caribbean reggae type of vibe, is that something you was going after, or is that something you've kind of found challenging and hard to cater for?
Um. Yeah, like yes and no, because obviously, like I love like the Caribbean culture. I love like the reggaeton influence stuff. But
Mm.
when I was on Dryson, I was playing like a lot of kind of like various genres. I was coming from like like I used to have like do you know James Horn? You had James Horn on, didn't you, the other night? I think I saw
Yeah,
like he
yeah.
he done guest mix for me. So like I had back in the day, I used to have like bassline sets. I had, like drill artists, grime artists, and yeah, Fresh FM does have a certain sound. And yes, I'll still, because I follow the greats like John Peel. I still feel like you've got to be a maverick, and I still feel like I'll still do my own thing on Fresh FM, and I'll still play like the drill music. Still play the drill music. I'll still play the grime stuff, the stuff I love,
Yeah.
the old school hip hop. But at the same time, I think it's important because I think this is what I got into a debate with a rapper, and he was like the other day, and he was like, "Oh, why aren't you playing as much local stuff?" And I'm like, "Look, I'm still open to local music, just because it's a station in the city. You got to think that Drystone was in the countryside, so I could kind of get away with playing more kind of unsigned
Yeah.
artists, and I'll still always push the unsigned artists. Don't get it twisted, but the thing with the Fresh FM, they kind of expect kind of like new records. They expect like your AJ Traces. They expect like your Lotto Boys. That kind of vibe. That's what it is. So I feel like me as a DJ, like I've kind of learned like, look, I can play sets on radio. Like I can go from like Afrobeats to grime to drill, or maybe I'll put like a graph tune in or a preem chat sound tune in. Do you know what I'm saying? So like I feel like it's definitely developed me, and I found my sound a bit more. But it has been because like at the end of the day, you're not going to please everyone, are you? Everyone's
think,
into different things, aren't they?
I wanted to touch on that because I think it's ignorance, because if people are saying that to you, they're not obviously doing the research and understanding what goes into your craft, and obviously there's limitations and the set rules in terms of what you can do. And I think that just comes down to ignorance and not understanding what you're trying to do, because end of the day, you're not their manager. You're not there to build their career. End of the day, you are yourself. You've got your own dreams. You've got your own goals. You've got your own interests. You might not even like their music. You're just playing it for the sake of it to help them grow. And if you are doing that, then that even makes you even a better person. So I think there's in this industry that we are in, especially with like, not to badmouth anyone, but they don't do the research. They're so sucked into the music and in studio and doing this, and they just want everything like, I won't say given to them, but more like they think they can get it like that when it's not the case. That's why a lot of our artists have managers to tackle these side of things, because they get it, they understand it, and labels to kind of manage where they're going to put the music and distribute it and work out the sales. And I think as artists, if you are listening to this, especially up north, focus more on not just the music, because yeah, your music's brilliant and your music's probably going to get you somewhere in life, but it's not a foundation that's going to get you anywhere if you don't have a team. You need to have a team in order to know what to do in each sector. So have a manager that knows business, have a label, or know someone that has worked in a label that you tight with, or get to know, get some information, do your research. Because a lot of people just make music and expect it to just blow by putting it on Grime Daily or putting it on the radio station.
Yeah.
But there's so much more that goes into it. It's a business. You are a business as an artist.
Yeah, I think the problem is like a lot of artists aren't seeing it as a product. It's not like they're not treating it as like, their music is a product. They've got to get it to like the masses. And I think a big issue as well is just professionalism. I feel like, not to badmouth anyone, but a lot of people, they don't understand like when you contact radio stations, you can't just send like it's a big issue that I face all the time, is like you can't just send like a YouTube link. Like I need like a press pack, I need like a photos, I could a clean edit.
With radio, right? Correct me if I'm wrong, but it goes by. You also go by what's it called? Because there's different audio quality levels and stuff like that, and decibels and numbers and all this shit that makes the quality better. So obviously, if you played it from YouTube, rather than them sending it directly to you through email, which is obviously probably exported at a higher, I don't know all these audio numbers, but
bit rate,
a bit rate or whatever, it makes a massive difference. And obviously, radio standard, there might even be a standard with radio that you can play a certain bit rate or whatever. So I think, like I said, just do your research, because there's so much more that goes into it than people actually think, than just sending it over and expecting the best to come, because it's not, life don't work that way. It doesn't.
No, like, yeah, I think it's just, I think as well, like the big issue I get is like people just like their approach as well. I feel like I've talked about this before when I've done conferences and stuff, is like it's your approach. It's like all it takes is for an artist to say like hi, how you doing? Like when I approached you about this interview, I was like, oh, hi Tom, like I'm just wondering. I think it's just like courtesy as well as being like, because I do as a presenter, I do get bombarded with a lot of messages, and sometimes it can come across like some people's messages, they can be a bit like robotic. So it's like they'll send like the one thing I really don't like as a presenter is people that spam you, like do them spam messages. Unless you've got me on WhatsApp, I feel like unless you know me enough personally to have me on WhatsApp, I feel like you can do that stuff. But if it's just like a random in my DMs, I just find it quite robotic. I just think like I'd much prefer, as me as a presenter, someone just being like, "Oh, hey," half time. Like I'm approaching artists anyway, but like I feel like all it takes is like someone who wants to do a video with you. It's like all it takes is like, "Oh, hi, I'm just wondering if I could check out my song," or I'm wondering if you could book me for a photo shoot or a video shoot. I think there is a lot of people that, I'm not saying it's everyone, but like there's a lot of people that do lack kind of just like manners. I think sometimes maybe I'm old fashioned, but
it's bad, bro. Because I get asked the first thing an artist does, like as a business owner, you kind of know like this is such bad messaging. I get a message, how much you charge? No introduction, no who you are, what you do, what you're trying to get, what's your vision, what's your goals, how much you charge. What the fuck? Obviously, I'll tell them and whatnot, and then they're like, "Oh, that's way too much, blah blah blah." And you're just like, how can you take this so like? How can you take this serious? Like, end of the day, for me, if someone, I just ignore that shit. To be honest, if someone does that, not with the how much you charge. If I say what I say and then they'd be disrespectful, I just straight away cancel them. But yeah, I think I forgot my point. I completely forgot my point.
I think I think it's just people's approach. We were saying, weren't we? Like,
just professionalism, just knowing, just tackling it from a different approach. Like, as an artist, see yourself as a business, therefore approach other businesses in a formal manner or with a bit more in depth of who you are, what you do, what your goals and visions are, and then obviously what you want from me or what I can do to help. I think that's the best way of doing it, rather than kind of, oh, how much you charge, or just like send a link to a song and it doesn't mean out to me. It's just like, what can I do with this? Like, talk to me, let me know, understand your vision, your goals, understand why you create this music, what does the song mean to you, and then I can go from there. But yeah, I think obviously the more professional I get and the more professional people I start working with, it'll get to that point where I'm working like that. But for now, it is a bit of an headache, and as well as a creative, you want to kind of get your vision out there and come up with some cool ideas. But a lot of artists up north, or just, well, it's not, might not even be up north, it might be just be in general, because they don't really want to do anything spectacular. They just want to do the same old rap video that is boring to watch. Because if you think about it, as an artist, it's much more than just music. You are representing yourself through video, through how you dress, for how you represent yourself in person. So you need to, I think anyone that's listening to this, you need to go back and understand what it is you want to be as an artist. Like, who are you basically, and who do you want to be? Because look at Miley Cyrus, for example, right? I know this is really random, but she's known for Hannah Montana. That's her artist name. And then she's got Miley Cyrus, which is herself. So she kind of already knew that she wanted to be separate. Like, Hannah Montana was a different character. It's not actually the real Miley Cyrus in the reality, which is okay then. So it's kind of like she's already got a separate character that she can also play if she wants to play. So if you want to be that type of artist and you want to be a different person on camera or through music videos, then let me know that. And if you don't, and you just want to be genuine, or you just want to be yourself, or who are you and what you want to be, then tell me that as well. I think there's so much more that goes into it than what they think, than just making music.
Definitely. Yeah, it's even like with me, like when I did my shows, like, people just see me as this, presenter, like there's a lot of background stuff that's going on, like I have to prepare my shows. I've got especially at Dryston, I had to turn up early before everyone else. You know, there's a lot of prep that goes into radio, and it's quite time consuming as well. It's quite like energy draining because obviously when I'm speaking into my mic and stuff, like my voice can go. Sometimes there's some weeks where I've been out to gigs and stuff, and I come in and I'm just like, I can't. I'm just gonna lose my voice. Like if I carry on doing like more shows, I'm just gonna like. And sometimes I do stuff on YouTube as well, so occasionally. So like, it's just like trying to balance it all together. I definitely think so. Timekeeping is important, definitely.
Have you ever had it where, especially I've had this when I did live on airs, loads, where because the way I did live on airs was, I don't know if you do radio the same way. I'd have it on a set day, so usually it was always on a Sunday. And then I'd get all the people to come in at set times. So then people would say that they come, and then don't come. But then I said that other person to come at like, let's just say they booked in at 1 o'clock, so usually it might take an hour to do. And then 2 people back out, so that's 2-hour slot where I'm doing nothing. And even when I message them, they're not exactly going to respond straight away, so they might not even get there as early as what they said to do. So have you ever had that with radio where people say they're going to come and then they don't come, and then kind of what do you do to fill that gap?
Yeah, I've had that before. I've had instances where people haven't turned up, sorry, for like genuine reasons, and I've had people that have slept in. I've had people that have just not shown up. I've had people that have had other things on the same day, and a lot of the times it has been valid. But sometimes there's been a few times where like you said, someone's not answered the phone, and I just sit there and I'm just like all it takes. Like I was sat there at Dryston, I'll be like checking it every 2 seconds, like on my phone, just like what's going on, like and it's just like a lot of the times at Dryston as well, because it was very remote where it was. A lot of the times a lot of people don't know this, like I was like I was picking people up as well and taking them to the station and dropping them back off. So
me too.
I feel like it built a lot of good relationships with people. This is what I wanted to address as well. Like a lot of people saying like, oh, who's this Marky guy? But like the thing is like like people can say what they want about me or whatever. Like I'm a culture vulture, whatever you want to say about me. Like people don't talk about the fact that I've travelled to other cities to do interviews. Like I've picked people, like I said, picked people up just to come on my show. I've dropped people off. Like there's a lot of love that goes behind it, what people don't see, and I think people can easily just like see things what I'm doing, and sometimes like things can get twisted, and it's like
it gets missed. And this is where it does, bro. It goes out, zoom, straight over the head because they don't care. Because all they see is, say, if you did one bad thing wrong, you said one bad thing, or you don't play the music, they're gonna have an opinion on you right away. So the way I see it is, look, if you do, because I've felt the same way. I've completely felt the same way. I felt it when I did live on airs. It's like I'm doing this. I'm putting on a platform and utilizing my time for these guys, and they aren't even showing up, and it's just disrespectful. Blah 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 blah. But now I'm just like, well, all right, you had your opportunity. Now I know not to fuck with you. Basically, like you've missed your opportunity. That was your way to kind of show your respect to me and my respect to show to you. I'm not saying no names, but I've done it with loads of people. Like I've dropped people off. I've even drove to Manchester and picked people up and for music videos and shit like that, and nothing in return, no thank you, not like there's just been loads of shit, bro. So I think, like I said, when you're a good person, it does take you longer to get to where you want to be, because ultimately you're gonna get what's the word I'm looking for? You're gonna get used, basically. You're gonna get used for what you're good at, and then sacked off once they got what they needed. And it happens. It's life. But if the best thing about staying true to yourself and being nice is, when you do get to that point, you haven't got to play a character. You haven't got to be Mr. Nice Guy, because that's you already. But the people that are horrible and misuse you for certain things, and to get to that point, they're playing a character constantly. They have to keep up with playing that character, and it gets tiring. So therefore, the true colours are going to come out at some point, and then shit goes downhill. So, but yeah, people are always going to have an opinion on you, bro. And I've had it. You're going to have it. We're going to continually have it throughout our career. I think the best thing to do is just block it off immediately. I think the best way to do is process it, let it annoy you for 6 seconds, and then let it go. I think that's the way I've kind of started to cope with things now. I read it. Sometimes I don't even read it, to be fair, because when you read it, sometimes it does get to you more than 6 seconds. But when you're telling yourself this process, not protest, it's installing, it's creating habits in your brain, basically, because your brain's made with neural systems. So, and those neural systems are basically habits. So the more habits you build, the better it gets for you to cope with situations like this. So if you're building that habit of dealing with hate in a better way, let's just say you have a time frame on it. I'm gonna be pissed off for 15 seconds. After that, I'm just gonna ignore it and not even let it get to me, or I'm just gonna cancel that person, block them once you've seen the negativity that's coming from them. I just think there's different ways of dealing with these situations, but ultimately, as Gary Vee says, we should feel sorry for them more than anything else, because they're going through actual time and effort to write something negative, which is sad. Like, who even has the time to do that? Like, I don't think I've ever wrote anything. I might have done when I was in my teenagers, but since I've been an adult, I can't remember last time I've wrote something negative on someone's work. Or if I have an opinion on something, I keep it to myself. Like, I'd have to opinionate it to everyone so everyone can see and make them feel shit. Like, who am I to do that?
It's like
Nope.
it's like me, like I was having this conversation with Harris, but like I've had artists that have approached me and like the songs haven't been kind of up to the standard, and I'm just kind of like, I always encourage them. I never say like, oh, you're not good enough. I'll just say something like, look, I think it's about being constructive. I was just like, look,
Yeah, it is.
I don't think that your song's really suited for my show, or I don't think it's the kind of right vibe. But I always just say to people, just keep sending me music. I might not like this song, but if you send me like a record in 5 records down the line, you might have that one record that might be an absolute banger. That I might reload it on my show like 5 times. Do you know what I mean? Like, I think that's the whole point. Is like, I'm obviously coming off social media and stuff and kind of revamping myself. Like, that's I realized there was a lot of things I was doing wrong about with my social media. Like, my presentation was really bad, my video editing skills. Like, now I'm just using this time to come back stronger. So there's always something that we can all improve on. Definitely, like,
Of course,
I always think that's a good point.
there's always room for improvement, and if you're telling yourself there isn't, then you're lying to yourself. Really and truly, that's the way I see it. And about you declining people's music, it's not even that you think that their music shit. It's just the fact that it's, like I said, it's not to your taste, or it's not the right time for you to play that sort of music. Because at the end of the day, you have to match with what previously you've been playing. You can't just put any random tune out there that it's all of a sudden like, whoa. Because if you go to a nightclub and someone's playing like, let's just say Shut Down by Skepta, and then put flipping, let's just say One Direction on, people be like, yeah, what the fuck?
Yeah.
And it's the same thing with DJing. Like, I mean, radio presenting, you can't just do that. You got to play with first of all, what the audience are digging. So you've already got a target audience with a certain radio station. And 2, if it kind of matches within the theme or genre of the music as well. So I think no one should take it negatively if you're listening. I think what you're saying is good. It's constructive, or it's not even constructive. It's just you saying basically, it don't fit this radio station. If you want to be a part of it, listen to the radio station and kind of put your own twist onto what I play. Basically, that's what you're saying to me. That's what I got from it.
Yeah. Yeah, I think it's easy. Like, even as presenters, like I've gone to auditions and stuff for like higher positions, and I've taken things very personally, even in my career. Like, I've been upset, and like I think you've just got to learn that it's like a business, isn't it? Like, it's not, it's never personal, is it? Really, like, unless like
Sometimes
obviously like
it
you
is,
feel.
but you know when it is.
Yeah, yeah. It's I think the big problem, especially like on your side of things, like as a creative, I think one of the big problems is like a DJ, not I think as well, is like a presenter and just being a creative. Like, there's no kind of set law, is there, for us? So like, in terms of like money and them kind of things. There's no kind of like, I was having this conversation with my friend who's a DJ, and he was saying that like, if we all just kind of banded together and made like a DJ union somewhere where like, because obviously there is a lot of promoters and stuff that do like, I've even done shows and I've not been paid properly, or some people still owe me money, and it's like, I know it happens to artists all the time. Like I've been a promoter myself. I used to put shows on in Skipton, so like I know what it's like. Yeah, I always understood the importance there was a promoter to. I always gave someone a bit of money for their travel. So like if they were coming from like Leeds or coming from Bradford or whatever, I'd give them a little bit for like their travel. I always understand the importance of that, and I feel like a lot of promoters. I'm not calling anyone out, but I feel like a lot of promoters around here don't understand that. And I always got taught from the get go it's important to be like that. Even 100%. You know yourself, like if you're not profiting that much, it's always good to at least try and you get what I'm trying to say anyway. I hope that makes sense.
You got to put your all in everything you do, but then you also got to think about the value of your time as well. So it's kind of like mixing and matching and finding the balance, because people will take advantage of you. I'm not going to lie, they will. And when people say, all right, it's going to pay for my travel, fuck it, I'm going to add food expense as well. They'll just make up a number so you have to pay that. And they might even get food with it. And I know it's only like, the way you might say it is, oh, it's only minors. But to me, that's disrespectful. As a business, from a business side of things, if we're doing business and you're lying to me straight away, that's disrespectful. How am I going to want to do more business with you and whatnot? So I think, yeah, it is right. Definitely cater to people that need it. 110%. I agree with that. But people will take advantage of that. And it's kind of like, you need to know whether they're genuine or not. And it's kind of hard to figure that out, I guess. So it is a tough one. I think it's all to do with experience and time. So the more you get to know the person and the more you work with them, I guess the truth will come out. But for me, if someone, especially with up north people, if people are struggling to, I don't usually defund my price. What I usually do is I offer them a different service of how they can pay. So like say you could pay with a half up front and then half when it's edited, or you could pay this amount now, this amount next month, and then this amount month after. Or I've done it previously, which I hate doing because it takes ages and people take the piss, is I can do the video and you won't get the video until I'm paid. Obviously you can see the video, like I'll send you like either with my logo stamp over it or in a really, really shit quality that you can't upload basically. But then that way people just take piss like and take months and months and months to pay without them realizing that you've got bills to pay for, you've got outgoings, you've got this and the other. Like the thing with me at one point, I was like spending almost $1,000 just on outgoings. And at that point, like people was taking the absolute piss as well. Like they weren't paying for music videos. And so the way I work now has completely changed to how I was working. Because I've seen people, take advantage and do that sort of stuff. And if you don't act upon it, you're going to get stuck in that position where people are just going to keep taking advantage. And it's like I said, it's also about valuing your work for what it's actually worth. Unless you think the opportunity is definitely going to benefit you as a career or as a person or whatever, or it's going to get you in some sort of network, then obviously you start to think about, I might do this for free, or there's different things for different reasons that you do certain situations in terms of business. But yeah, I think the majority of the time people kind of like to take advantage, and that's just a sad truth. I mean, that's just business, and not even just with local people. That's just with big corporate people as well. People take piss. People are like, oh, I can't afford you. Can you do it any cheaper? So then, like a sucker, I think I don't do it now, but like a sucker back in the day, I'd be like, all right, yeah, I can do that. But yet they've got a G-Wagon. They're spending hundreds of pounds on alcohol a night, and it's just like, why have I just done that to myself? Like, hold on. So I've kind of experienced quite a lot through the business side of things. So now I don't back down to it. I'm just like, nah, that's my price. If you don't like it, look elsewhere. I'm sorry. Unless, like I said, if someone's really struggling, I'll adapt. Or if the opportunity is amazing, I'm willing to do it for free. So it's all about seeing it, the right opportunity and finding a balance. Really, that's
Definitely, man.
my point on it. Yeah, it's got to be careful, man. Business is such an evil thing, man.
Oh, definitely. I feel like there is. I've had times where like I have been. There's situations where, like you said, I feel like I've been people that have taken the mick out of me. Not even just like in terms of like stuff like that. Just like their attitude when they turn up, or like yeah,
Yeah,
they'll just, like they'll come to the show with an attitude, or like they'll be on the doing the interview, and you can just tell like how half-assed some people can be sometimes.
hundred
And it's
percent.
like I just feel like sometimes that like with these interviews, like I've done some. I have some that are absolutely proud, really proud of them. Some others that I'm like, but like yeah, I think like I think sometimes like I'll even admit where I've had times where I've not been organised, or we all make mistakes. It happens, or
Oh,
like
of course. Organizing is my
I've
biggest
had interviews that I've forgotten about and stuff. It happens all the time, and it's been happening as well. Like especially the one thing I feel like I struggle with the most is you'll probably agree is like my messaging. I'm really crap at messaging people fast.
Mm,
It's not because I don't want to message. I just get a lot of messages. That's not just off like people in the industry. It's people like my family, my friends,
yeah.
and I just struggle to get back to everyone. Read like especially in Corona times as well, this lockdown, I've just really struggled like messaging people. It's not because I don't want to. It's just like I've just liked having my own space, like my own personal
Yeah.
space.
Yeah, I get that. I feel you on that one. So with the radio station, the goal is it something? Do you want to end up doing your own radio station, or do you want to kind of work for a big corporate like, let's just say, BBC Extra or Kiss FM or whatever? I don't know.
Yeah, I mean that would be the dream. I mean, I'm looking kind of more. Yeah, obviously, like because it's very competitive. I'm looking kind of more at doing the YouTube kind of interviews, that kind of like podcast. But
Okay.
yeah, I wouldn't mind setting up my own station. That is something that I've considered
Mm-hmm.
because I feel like Leeds does need kind of like a unity radio. But
Yeah.
I definitely feel like if I do want to move to London, but like I feel like it is so competitive. But yeah, definitely, the dream would be like one extra BBC, one extra. Um,
And don't
and
get it.
the thing is as well, I think it's harder for me just because of my heritage as well. Like as a white guy in the culture, like I have to kind of like prove myself even more. I
Mm,
kind of like I constantly get questioned. I'm like, oh, you're playing this music, but do you know like I do get quite like it's not. I think people just they see that I'm playing black music and stuff, and I think sometimes like this past over this lockdown, I've been watching loads of hip hop documentaries. I've been watching Hip Hop
yeah.
Evolution, just because I was fairly clued up anyway. Like I've got a massive CD collection behind me in my room. Like I listen to loads of hip hop. I'm fairly knowledgeable, but like it's just like there's always other things that I could be learning.
Yeah.
And I think it's just good. Like I think, yeah, I think it's just good that I think I understand the importance of like I'm playing another culture's music. I need to know what I'm playing, kind of thing. Like I need to back up. I need to know the slang. I need to know like I need to know about like certain things. What do you get what I'm trying to say? Like it's kind
Mm,
of like, but yeah, I've had like yeah, I do. I've had like I said before, I've had people hating on me, going like, oh, you're this white boy trying to be black or whatever. And I'm like, at the same time, I'm like, I don't see what's wrong with that because
yeah.
like
For me that just like the to me, and if those type of people are actually out protesting as well about Black Lives Matter and non-racist, it's basically hypocrites because I'm not saying that who I'm on about whoever sees you as that. I
mm,
feel like those type of people are hypocrites because that's racist. I think how
mm,
can they start judging you because you're into their culture and heritage?
mm,
Surely that's a good thing more than anything.
mm,
Um, so why the hell should you be discriminated for that reasoning? And
mm,
um, I don't. When I, it's same with me to be honest. When I say to people I am mixed race, they're like, no, you're not. Blah blah blah. You're adopted. I get all of this shit. So it's like I kind of understand, but it's a different way of understanding because
mm,
I embrace my culture, but I don't embrace it to the point where I don't know. I think it's just all my life and my upbringing. I don't have any white friends. I'm just gonna put that out there. I don't have no white friends. And it's not for any particular reason. It's just I haven't kind of clicked with anyone in that sort of culture area, and it's not even like it's not like I'm choosing it. It's just, I don't know, I just vibes with majority of my friends are Asian or black, and I don't know if that's because of my background and stuff like that, or my surroundings, but I just tend to connect with them so much easier and better. I don't know if you're probably obviously the exact same.
Definitely, yeah.
So how can then someone judge you by how you feel and connect with
Yeah.
people? It just baffles me, and to me, I do feel like it's not exactly racism where they're saying, "Oh, you stupid white prick." Why you? It's not like that,
Yeah.
but it's more of, it's kind of like subtle racism where it's kind of like, you're white, you can't be us, because yeah, you already frigging know that, but it don't mean that you can't enjoy their music. It don't mean you can't enjoy their food. It don't mean you can't date someone in that culture or heritage background. I
To me,
think,
it's more. I've had it more. I've had it more from. To be honest, I've had it more from like people that are white. But I've had it. I've had kind of like covert kind of disses and stuff. But
yeah,
it's mostly been from white people. And I think my argument is like, what's wrong with me trying to be like that? Because like black culture and black heritage has been oppressed so much to the point where we don't know that much about it really. Like, I mean, there is a lot of information out there, but like a lot of it is kind of been, kind of
yeah,
diluted quite a lot. So I don't see what's wrong with me embracing that culture and trying to be a part of it. And I think the one thing people do say about me is that like I do it in a way where it's respectful. Like I've always tried to come over. I always, yeah. There's times where like I feel like I have tried too hard, but I've learned, like I said before at the start of the interview, we're all learning, aren't we? Like there's always been oh,
of course.
I did this
And
wrong, I can do it better next time, kind of.
I didn't know which part of the spectrum you were saying, but it's just reverse.
Yeah.
Whatever I just said, it's the exact same, but just reversed. How can a white person then discriminate you for embracing a different culture? Like, it's like someone converting religion, basically. How can you then judge someone from what they believe in terms of religion? That's It just confuses me. So it's kind of like the same thing. Obviously, it's not religion based, but it's kind of like the same judgment process where you like black culture, you get on with black people way more than you do with white. I'm the exact same. Um, but I've never actually been judged on it. I might have actually once or twice, but I just ignored it.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's actually quite interesting. Actually, it's quite an interesting subject to talk about. Like I said, it's just a dumb statement, to be fair, bro. I think those
Yeah.
type of people, like I said, are racist. I think they are racist. I mean, if they have a judgment or they have something to say about it, then they're obviously questioning why are you trying to go through that culture, or why do you want to go to that side of, I don't know. I don't really know, to be honest, bro. It's like I say, it's a touchy subject, but I do think it is quite a racist statement, or it's quite a judgmental statement where they're basically telling you what to do with your life when it's your own life, and whatever you feel attracted towards, you can't help that. It's just you, who you are, in it. So it's but yeah, moving forward, who's like, you said you wanted to do more podcasts and interviews. Is that something, like you said, you wanted to do with YouTube? Is that something you're currently growing on? Is that something you're working towards, or?
Yeah, well, I've been doing a lot more like online courses. It's something that I'm working towards. I mean, there is a few. I did a series on. I did Marky Meets, which was an Instagram, YouTube series that's still there if people want to check it out. They were
That has a ring
the
to it.
interviews where I was going out to different cities and stuff. But it was good. Like, don't get me wrong, I love doing it, and I got some amazing contacts through it. And I feel like, yeah, those contacts, I really got to start utilizing them in the next couple of years. But I feel like it didn't really have that much direction behind it. It was
Yeah,
great. Like there was some great interviews and I met some great people, but I was like going to cities, like I was going to London, I was going to Stoke, not sure like how I was going to get back and stuff. I was staying in hotels and I was like, it gave me motivation. I was like, Jesus, like I'm so motivated just to go out and network. And
yeah,
I was going to like clubs on my own just to like meet artists and interview artists and
I
like
love
I
that.
was going like there's some situations in London where I was like literally on my own in like a club and just be like, oh God, like I'm literally like, yeah, there were like a few people that I'd met there like once or twice before, but they weren't like my friends or anything, or like any
Yeah.
like colleagues or anything. It was just literally me on my own. But no, it was great. Like I got some, but I think now I just want to kind of, kind of revamp myself. Next couple of years, just kind of come strong and try and organize some like big interviews with some big artists, because I've got the connections to do it. It's just about utilizing it in the right way, because I don't want to be messaging other people going like, oh, help me get an interview with so and so. I want to kind of do it in a way where like it just naturally happens. Do you know what I mean? Where it's not like it's forced. Because the one thing I learned is like, I think it was Maya Craig's manager that taught me this, is like, if you were like, I messaged her about getting an interview with Ari Lennox, and she instantly was just like, I really respect your messaging with Marky, but until you're a name, people aren't going to won't want to associate yourself. They won't want the bigger artists, sorry, won't want to associate you. They won't want to associate with you. Sorry, I'm just being socially awkward because I've not spoken to someone in ages. But yeah, she was basically saying that like you've got to build yourself first before you can start. It's like you wouldn't shoot for Stormzy, would you? Like now you have to kind of build up.
Yeah,
And
of course, you got
I
a bit.
understand it's the same with me. Like I've been like, oh, why can't I interview like AJ Tracy, or why can't I interview Stormzy? It can happen. I'm not saying it can't happen. It's just like you've just got to go through them like hoops first, haven't you, until you get
Yeah,
there.
it's a journey,
Yeah.
100%. And I think the more you do, the more you're going to see in return. So I think it's just a weighing game, to be honest, bro. Just keep doing what you're doing. And then eventually you'll get to meet those people, and your dreams will come true, to be honest. Kind of wrapping it up. It's coming up to like an hour and a half now. It's probably going to be the longest podcast we've done.
Wow.
I want to know, like, what's your end goal? What is it that you want to achieve within these next few years of your life? Like, because you're still young, to be fair. So, what is Marky gonna do right now from moving forward?
That's a good question. I just think like I mean, either one of my goals would just be kind of like raise more awareness of hip hop up here. Obviously, that's something I've been trying to do. But yeah, like I said before, just kind of like a goal would just be to interview one of the greats, even if it's like another presenter. Even if I got to meet like Charlie Sloth or someone, or I got to even being in like the same room of them. To me, that's like an achievement. Like, do you know what I mean? Like, that would be enough. Yeah, just become a name and just push artists. Like, another thing that I'd love to do is like just do what John Peel did back in like the 60s and the 70s and the 80s, is just find a new genre. Like be an innovator in a new genre. Be someone that I want to be someone that who's like target someone that innovated grime. I don't know, like there could be a genre that pops up at the end of this decade, then I could have been like one of the pioneers of it, or one of the DJs, or be like Semtex who pushed. Do you know what I mean? I just want to be within something that's new and kind of pushing the new sound, because I always think new music is always so important. Even if people don't always like the new music, I always think there always has to be someone like me that's pushing it. Do you know what I'm trying to say?
Yeah. 100%.
What about yourself? Any goals for you? Like,
I've actually never had that question fired back. Yeah, I've got loads, bro. I've actually got it all written up on my wall over there. I want to try keep them quite secret.
okay, fair enough.
But yeah, a lot of good stuff. I mean, my YouTube's definitely one of them, which I can say out loud. YouTube is definitely something I want to grow and use as a platform for a lot of different things, for myself, for people like you, for other people that are local. That's something I'm working towards. I mean, I've gained since I've been back from traveling, I've gained I think almost 300 subscribers. So it's quite good, to be fair, after 2 months. What else that I can let out? I want to start a production team, which I am starting a production team, a film production, which I don't really want to speak more on, but yeah, that's in the process. But yeah, loads of things, to be honest, bro. Like loads. I got some massive projects that I don't really want to speak about, but I got some massive projects that I want to do in the next 5 years or so. But yeah, man, it's all exciting. It's going to bring all creatives together. That's one thing I can say. It's going to be something where all the creatives can, come to. But yeah, that's it. I mean, I want to kind of finish on, especially with the radio side of things.
Mm.
What advice would you give to people in terms of radio, and what tips would you say that you've learned over the time as well?
Oof, that's a good one. Just my main thing is just know what you're getting into. Like, know get an understanding of like how radio sounds. So like understand like how a show's formatted. Listen to a few more radio shows if you want to become a presenter, and just
Mm,
remember it's very competitive, and just have fun, because
yeah.
like I felt like there was a stage where I was going through, I was being too serious, like, oh, like, I think you just need to have fun with it and enjoy it,
Hmm.
because like there's no point getting down about it, because like I've had situations where I've been absolutely fuming, or I've been really upset, and it's just like, just have fun with it, and yeah, and just be confident, and don't be afraid, like, like, of messing up on air, because the amount of times where I like messed up, pressed the wrong button, didn't turn my mic off at the right time, or just don't be afraid to make the mistakes, because that's the only way you're going to learn, is just throwing yourself in, really. And yeah, just go for it. My best advice is just go for it, and even it doesn't have to be music related. It could be what we're doing now. It could be a podcast. It could be a nature show. It could be a show about bikes. It doesn't have to be like. I think people get transfixed on this thing like radio is like a music thing. It doesn't have to be a music thing. It can be
Yeah.
anything you want it to be, as long as it sounds good. Then there you go.
Awesome, mate. Well, thank you for your time. I appreciate it a lot. And yeah, I'll definitely get you on again in like next year or so when we've all progressed. But yeah, I appreciate your time a lot. Thank you. And yeah, stay safe.
Yeah, thank you for having me, man. It's been a pleasure, man. Absolute honor. Thank you,
Been a
man.
pleasure, man. Take it easy.
Take care, man. Stay safe, man.
You too. Bye bye.